everyone. Welcome to Cryptonized. Today, joining us is Lin Dai. We're going to talk about NFTs in the music space. NFTs are on fire, as you know. I think, we're just at the beginning of what NFTs are going to be. This thing's going to revolutionize a few of the industries that you know of today. I think one of which will be the music industry. We'll have to hear what Lin has to say about that. My co-host, Amanda Whitcroft, and I are proud to have you as a host today, Lin. Can you give us a little background on yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Thanks, Amanda. I'm a tech nerd. Went to Carnegie Mellon. Had a couple of startups that we took public over the years, and about 6 years ago, really got into blockchain through kind of introduced by the VC Lin Dai, and it's a long journey, and ended up building something really interesting for music on the blockchain.
All right, well, great to have you on, Lin. Let's jump right into things. Lin, what drew you to the NFT space originally?
Yeah, it was interesting. From the very beginning, Bill, who's one of my mentor and earliest investor in crypto space, was talking to me about how to apply blockchain technology to non-financial applications. Right. So we're specifically looking at music and entertainment. The earlier use cases, we thought was kind of one-sided and didn't take all the stakeholders into consideration. So we ended up with just always brainstorming. And about 2.5 years ago, Bill came to me and was like, well, Lin, you had to take a look at these blockchain cats, right? So it was crypto kitties, and, kind of a light bulb went off, and we were like, wow, this actually NFT represents something actually fundamentally different in music revenue stream for the artists that we actually think all the stakeholders, including the labels and the publisher, everybody can get on board. So that was very exciting. So we started building kind of the genesis of this project about 2.5 years ago.
And were you skeptical of the NFT space at all? And how did you piece together NFTs with music?
It was a pretty easy leap when we saw kind of what, you always need one good example, right? So I would like to say we kind of have the second mover advantage. We kind of look at the bleeding edge pioneers such as Dapper, which is like a great company, what they've done. So fundamentally, it's like it's a very easy concept for as digital merch to kind of so that concept already exists in collectibles and merch existing in the music space. Michael Jackson could have before he passed, could have autographed, one-of-one copy of Fiddler, and I could be the only one holding that. And that has value. And this is just a digital version of that. So, except the digital provenance carries on and is proved to everyone, right? Like if I had the one-of-one, physically autographed Fiddler, I can go to an auction house and it could be like, well, how do I know there's, Michael didn't autograph 99 other copies and it's in somebody's closet. Right. So, so this is kind of just a better way of doing things we already know how to do.
And Lin, what NFT communities are you into? The apes, the penguins, creatures. What fascinates you?
It's really interesting. So I'm in quite a few. There's, NFT is all about community, which is what I love. So that aspect, I think a lot of the NFT art is kind of mimics the traditional art world. It's very kind of like the anonymous buyer come in and buys it, and right, the NFT, kind of the generative project is very community driven, which is has a huge implication for the music and music artists, right? So NFT as community versus NFT as just kind of a one-off collectible is very interesting to us. So kind of on the art side, one of my favorite artists is Mika Johnson. The Aku series is amazingly well thought out, and I think Aku is option for one of the first movie characters, the first NFT character to be optioned for a major studio film, and then most recently the kind of couple communities I got in. So the latest one is the Paladin Pandas, which is super interesting, great artwork, and the character is going to be used in these actual games. So kind of the when there's an NFT project, where the NFT is more than just the art you collect is very interesting, right? Real world utility. So on the music side, we do a lot in thinking about how NFTs lead to real life experiences. So when we did the Doja Cat drop, iHeart Radio drop, it all leads to actual concert tickets and experiences and VIP stuff. So I think that's where NFT is, it's going to go long term is connecting the digital and the physical.
So there's a divergence between NFT and Metaverse.
Yeah, so I think the both direction is interesting, right? So like something could originate from kind of the metaverse and link to real life experiences, but also the reverse could be true. Like imagine, imagine like we just did the first collection with Doja Cat, but and we have two more collection coming. But like imagine a scenario where next year sometime at a major concert or festival, and we're all getting back together, halfway through the concert, Doja Cat or another major artist could like blow a kiss into the crowd, and you raise your phone, you catch that kiss, right? And that it actually that's an NFT you collected. You have 60 seconds to buy that NFT. We can price an NFT super affordably for all fans. And then if you collected that NFT, that becomes a metaverse character or a metaverse piece of art or music or experiences or ticket to a metaverse concert. So I think both going from physical to digital and going from digital to physical is kind of where a lot of the cool experimentations we're doing. So
how do you ensure that I can't just go to any artist, take my own pictures and videos and turn them into my own NFTs without the artist's permission? How does that all work?
Yeah, so OneOf.com is specifically designed to be a NFT platform for the music community. And we do that, not because it's easy, because it's hard. So like the music rights, or the music industry, creator rights is probably the most complicated out of all forms of art. Visual art is usually there's one rights holder, right? Like the actual painter or designer. Music, you have artists who gives name and likeness rights. You have the artist sent to a major label, the actual recording master right belong to a label. If the artist is a writer or if the artist is not a writer, their producer and writer have publishing rights. So it's actually pretty complicated to navigate, and I think that's a little bit of our special sauce. So we partnered with Quincy Jones, is backed the company and co-founded the company with us. So there's a lot of depth of experience on how to navigate the music world. So long way to answer your question, if you took a photo of a music artist without permission, you probably can't mint that as an NFT and sell it legally, right? So we're not the police to policing the rights, but the artist has armies of people that's always out there, protecting your rights. That's just the same as if you just printed a Britney Spears t-shirt and you start selling them on like Etsy. Maybe you get away with it, but maybe you can't, right? So
isn't the issue though, and I'm doing this to benefit everyone, even to the artists watching this, isn't it difficult to kind of police that? You might be able to police it in the United States if you live in the United States, but if it's on a decentralized blockchain, for example, how could you ever police that?
Yeah, so that is why it's important, I think why kind of projects like ours exist, right? We actually verify the authenticity before it gets minted. So not anyone off the street can just like mint something and say like, this is the official 50 cent like collection, right? So we have a curated platform where, it's almost equal to kind of a blue check. We work directly with artists. We make sure it is right. It is authenticated. We were talking to a major artist, months ago. At the same time, there was a collection that went live on OpenSea. So we're like, well, the deal is off. Like, we wanted to, to have you launch your Genesis collection on our platform. The artist team was like, we don't know who this collection is. I mean, obviously they were furious and tried to track down. It's a little bit hard to track down, right? And somebody, made a quick cash grab using the artist's name without their permission. I think the community were fooled into thinking that was the artist's official collection, and it was sold within 24 hours for tens of thousands of dollars. So and that's a reputational hit to the artist. So I think it is for music, right? It is like helpful to have a platform like OneOf.com where this is for both the buyer and the artist. This is kind of trusted and verified platform.
I like the blue check mark example. I think that's absolutely needed in the industry, and it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Can you elaborate on your partnership with Quincy Jones? I mean, how is it working with such a heavy hitter like that, and how did that come about?
Yeah, it's great. So like I mentioned, I'm a tech nerd. When we were looking at this technology for a while, we built earlier prototypes on Ethereum. We also kind of consulted and spoke to some of the key people at Dapper Labs very early on, and the technical opinion was that. Ethereum will have challenges scaling because of gas fees, right? So you don't want to, like my example earlier, my panda that I minted costed, the recommended minting cost to get the transaction process before everybody was $700. Right, so the Ethereum minting cost is astronomical. Like the Panda itself, like minting it was like $100, right? Like it was recommended to pay $700 just to mint, which is really pricing it out of the range of the average consumer and the everyday fan. So we didn't like that. So we were looking at kind of a proof of stake blockchain to build our project on for really two reasons. One is this astronomical gas cost. We want to bring the gas cost down to essentially zero, so the artists don't have to worry about pricing their music or art as kind of only for the high end, wealthy collectors. They want to price it for everyday fans. And two is an environmental concern, right? So the energy consumption on proof of work networks are up to 5 days of U.S. household energy just to mint an NFT, which is kind of crazy. So we ended up, deciding on the Tezos blockchain, which is 2 million times more energy efficient. It takes the energy of sending out a tweet to mint an NFT, and the minting cost is we got it down through our minting method down to under 2 cents. So when I basically made that technical breakthrough, I called up one of my closest friends, Josh James, who's one of our co-founders, and Josh is, entrepreneur on his own and did many successful music and entertainment industry startups, but also was at one point had a live music over at Warner. So I called him and I was like, I had this great like NFT platform for music, and this was like over a year ago, and like it's great, it's going to change the music industry. And Josh was like, 5 minutes later, Josh was like, okay, like what is an NFT? But then he quickly got it, right? Because he's not a crypto person, and he basically saw like, hey, there is a huge application for this, and what we realized was he was the target audience, right? So it's not for the existing crypto savvy user. The opportunity is where the real fans. So we basically, the next call was to Adam Fell, so one of Josh's closest friends, and Adam is president of Quincy Jones Productions. So we basically, decided to call Adam because, we wanted to work with Quincy to really bring together the music industry. So interestingly, people don't know this. Quincy is super ahead of the time on all technology innovations in, for the last 7 years in the music industry. He's one of the earliest investors in Spotify. Any type of technology that really enhances the artist's career. So, he's kind of, the first one to adopt. So we called Adam, the same story, right? So like we went on like how great this technology is, and Adam's like, what is an NFT? And then by the time Adam got it, Adam quickly kind of shared this with Quincy, and then what they kind of came back to us with was like, this is something that really is kind of in their views more important than when streaming technology has done for the music industry. This is something that like fundamentally allows the artists to monetize without collateralizing their future, right? So if you think about, the current revenue model, artists basically recording revenue is signed away, like collateralizing their future of their recording revenue to the record label. Writing, publishing revenue, right? So songwriting revenue is collateralized to the publisher. Touring revenue is collateralized to major promoters like Live Nation. So this is like something that artists can do and really have a one-on-one relationship directly with their fans, really without having to collateralize any part of their career. So this is very exciting.
That's great. And do you think protocols like Tezos could outpace standards like Ethereum or Bitcoin because of climate change?
Environmental sustainability is super important, top of mind for the next 100 million adopters, right? So that's who we're targeting, is bring the next 100 million non-native crypto users onto blockchain. Just like we wouldn't be, the next generation really, through their kind of activism and feedback will tell the artist, the actual music artist who's decided to drop an NFT collection, that if they're doing it environmentally sustainably or not. Like Doja Cat, who was one of our first, is our kind of first ever artist collection. She actually announced her collection on a Ethereum-based platform months ago, and got so much backlash that when she decided to switch platforms, and we showed them what we are all about and our ethos, And literally her tweet and her quote is about that, like, hey, like the other, we know that NFT can be harmful to the environment, but like her collection isn't, right? So this is kind of, I think why a lot of artists end up partnering with us.
So Lin, do you feel like climate change is going to be a big deal with NFTs going forward? Is there a huge focus on that from the community?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of proof stake protocols that's already kind of catching up or having a huge impact on the NFT world, right? So Ethereum still is the largest NFT community. I think the next two biggest ones, one is really Flow, where NBA Top Shot is built on a little bit of a closed ecosystem, but certainly that's based on proof of stake, is far more energy efficient.
Lin, could you explain to our viewers who don't understand the difference between proof of stake versus proof of work?
Yeah, certainly. So, generation one kind of blockchain like Bitcoin and Ethereum was built on kind of the idea of mining, right? So you need specialized computer hardware, ASIC chips, GPUs, to really kind of for the computer to work, right? So to work hard in order for the privilege of verifying a transaction. Now, the verifying a transaction by a computer network is fairly easy and fairly energy efficient. But in order to prevent kind of attacks or malicious, wrongdoings, the earlier blockchain networks are set up in a way where, the computers had to solve computational puzzles and go through a lot of hoops in order for the privilege of verifying a transaction. So that has, that was the way that Bitcoin was invented more than 10 years ago. But since then, really over the last 5 years, a new wave have emerged, kind of the generation 2 or 3 blockchains use this method called proof of stake, which basically is actually is pioneered by Tezos. This idea is that the computer don't have to work so hard before they get the rights to verify a transaction. Basically the node operators basically had to just stake assets. They had to basically put up collaterals. They had to put up $1 million, $2 million, $10 million in the network's token and say like, hey, like, I'm not going to have any wrongdoings or malicious like changes, do anything bad, because if they do anything bad, their collateral gets taken away, right? So they're staking for the right to prove a transaction, which requires no energy. So they just require assets. So in a way, that basically ushered in a whole new wave of new kind of blockchain technologies. Even Ethereum has agreed that is the future, and has been going through kind of changes to migrate towards proof of stake. And that's been taking a while, but so we're very excited that this is the future, right? Like blockchain technology is fundamentally changes a lot of the things for humankind, and to be able to, we have a responsibility right now to kind of do it kind of in a way that it's not detrimental in other ways. So proof of stake is kind of the future.
That was my next question. Yeah.
I want to bring you now to what I'm deeming like the next generation NFTs, and specifically in the music industry. It's like, to me, yeah, these NFTs are great. You got videos and pictures, but these things I think are easily replicatable. Like I said, anyone could take these pictures. Yeah, maybe it doesn't have a blue check mark next to it from your company. But what do you see as the next generation NFT? Do you see, like, if I own 5 of the artist's NFT, that automatically unlocks a ticket to go see his next concert or her next concert? Or are there special things that will happen as a result of having these NFTs that you can think of? What's the next generation?
Yeah, so that has already happened, what you described. So that's right now, right? So our first 2 collection, Doja Cat and also iHeart Radio Music Festival. So both collections are kind of gamified experiences where you're collecting certain pieces from a collection, and then you can either discover a golden ticket, or if you form a collection, you get some other rewards. So those are kind of experiments right now that are kind of digital collectible leading to kind of physical utilities. Like the Doja Cat one of one item out of her collection auctioned for $188,000 and $888. What the winner get, other than the actual NFT itself, is actually a VIP experience to go see her in concert, right? So we'll fly the winner and the and the guests like, first class anywhere in the US to the concert, but then you also get a full day of like living like Doja Cat, right? Maybe you go to a recording studio where certain hit songs were made, and you get to go dine at her favorite restaurant, and then you go to the concert and you have this VIP experience. So those are things that's already happening. I think what's interesting is the future, the next generation. I think when NFTs stop being called NFTs, and they're just it could be just a ticket, it could be just like digital merch when you leave the festival you were just at. It could be the actual song, right? Instead of releasing it on Apple or Spotify, maybe at the same time you could have a collectible limited edition version of that song. So I think when technology kind of disappear as into the background, that's where kind of the future gets very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, if I were Doja Cat, I would set up a leaderboard and I would have fans compete to be the top fan or top 10 fan or something like that. And as a result of all of the NFTs of mine or of hers that they own. Now, can you imagine that kind of dynamic? I mean, because there's some rabid fans that are out there for any artist. And to be able to be on a leaderboard that's on her website, I think would drive a certain behavior that would be beneficial to the artist. Just a guess.
Yeah. No, NFT as community is kind of the core to this, right? So we only work with artists that think about this in the long term, and it's not a quick cash grab. So, the Doja collection specifically, we're doing 3 collections. The first collection is only 7 different types of tokens, right? So you can collect all 7. But the 7 tokens also, if in the second collection, the idea is you can take any of the 3 of the 7 tokens from the previous collection, and you can combine them. Right, and they fuse into a bigger, rarer new collection, new item in the next collection. So so there's actually 294 different possible combinations. So there's a little bit of a gaming dynamic of which fans, not only who got the only one of one, the highest tier token, but who's collecting a lot of tokens, because that actually opens up a new world in kind of the next collection. So it's a community building exercise, right? So basically, I think tens of thousands of Doja Cat fans like kind of immediately jumping to the first collection, and that was sold out, and then now there's kind of momentum building and buzz building about like what is actually the 294 tokens and what do they represent? Because the first collection, the 7 tokens actually represented, tickets, VIP experiences. So the next collection is building on top of that. So over the course of, let's say, 6 months and 3 collections, the artist really got a super engaged fan base, right? So, like Doja Cat certainly already have 30 million listeners on Spotify, in any given month, but to be able to identify out of those 30 million who are the 30,000 super rabid fans, right? Who's willing to pay really a premium to appreciate your art. So that's really kind of that was never before able to happen, right? Everybody says you're the biggest fan, but now you can prove you are the biggest fan.
And maybe the artist says, hey, you'll get my song a week early or something like that if you're in the top 100. Can you imagine that kind of gaming dynamic? That would be remarkable.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that's exactly something we are working towards. So we have, right now on the site, it's live, is a collection from the hip hop artist, The Game. So The Game, has a unreleased music track and a music video that comes with the NFT you're buying from his collection. So it's not only I think there's definitely kind of a scenario where music are concurrently released on Spotify, Apple, and as well as an NFT version of the music. But also the NFT version could be hey, before my music goes to streaming platforms, there's 24 hours where it's exclusively available as NFT, right? And then the super extreme case is in the case of The Game, it's just he's not even going to put the music on Spotify. The only place you can listen to is for true fans that is going to buy his NFT. It comes with a music video and video only for fans. So that's really, really special.
Amanda, any closing thoughts before we wrap things up?
I had so many follow-up questions, but Lin, you're very thorough in your responses. So this is all very interesting, and I so appreciate your coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem. This is what we do. And I've been thinking about this for 2.5 years and building this project. So I think there's a lot of noise in the NFT space right now, right? So we're kind of a project that has been conceived in partnership with artists and artist advocates such as Quincy for many years. So I think what we are looking to do is be kind of that long-term partner for artists in the music industry, to be that like kind of source of authenticity for fans who's looking to collect and is not going to be duped into buying a collection that's actually not directly from the artist. And we'll be here, for the long haul with the goal to really make things easier for the next 100 million non-crypto fans. And we kind of do that by, I think the last barrier to entry right now into the space is how difficult it is to go buy an NFT on another platform. Like, just if you never set up a MetaMask wallet before, the first time you do it, it's complicated and it's scary. Like, why do I have to write down these like words and like be warned that like my coin or NFT is going to be gone if I don't write down these words? It's a hard, the perception on NFT is too hard is what we all need to kind of educate a general consumer. So we build a platform where kind of a 14-year-old fan can sign up with an email and a phone number and buy an NFT, that's priced as little as $5 in under 3 minutes. So with a credit card. So there's no prior crypto knowledge required. I think that's kind of the last barrier to entry we're trying to solve, and we hope other platforms and other projects kind of really think through and and start working with us to kind of attract the next wave of users onto blockchain.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I mean, the biggest barrier to entry, I think, is kind of how difficult it is to get on these platforms and then use them. And I also agree that the space is going to have to specialize, because right now anybody can print an NFT. It takes seconds and then put it out there. There's so much noise. There's so many of these things floating about that we're going to need the blue check mark. We're going to need what I call programmatic NFTs. We're going to be able to we have to figure out what the quality NFTs are versus somebody just grabbing Justin Bieber's face and putting it on a coin and calling it an NFT. So, I really appreciate you. I know Amanda does, you coming on, and look forward to talking to you maybe in a year or so about what the next generation NFT and music looks like.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Lin.